During our time at Custer, we split our time with staying at one campground for a couple days and the other campground for over a week. The first campground we stayed at was Custer Crazy Horse Campground just outside the town of Custer, and it's safe to say this campground earns a solid 10 out of 10 in pretty much every category there is. This campground is pretty large and has multiple different types of campsites. They have full hookups, just electrical and water, and they also have boondocking spots if you're more interested in that. During our stay, we opted to go with full hookups, and it was a great choice as it was much more affordable here than it was at other campgrounds. At Custer Crazy Horse, it was only $50 a night for full hookups, which is pretty affordable for an RV, while other campgrounds in the area are charging over $65 to even $70 a night. This campground also has pretty much every amenity that you will need during your RV stay. Other nice smaller details about this campground is you can buy firewood there for an affordable price of only $6 a bundle, while most campgrounds that we have stayed at are anywhere from $7 to $10, typically closer to $10 a bundle of firewood. They also sell propane gas there for your LP tank, and this is about $4 a gallon, which is also really affordable compared to other campgrounds and fill locations we have been to. The campsite that we got while staying here was down the hill, which was really nice because it removed all the sound from the road that other campsites would hear if you were on the top. There was only a few of these and they were all empty, so I'm assuming that they filled these last, or these are people who request them for wanting easier access. But 90% of the campsites are down the hill away from the sound of the road, which is nice, makes it easier to sleep at night and less annoying during your stay. And at our campsite and every other campsite that we saw, there was a fire ring and a picnic table that you were able to use your whole stay. And on top of RV campsites, they also had cabins that you could rent out, which is really nice if you don't have an RV. And on top of all of this, the camp hosts even take you directly to your campsite and help you back up and tell you all the information you need to know upon arrival. Their main office area is also one of our favorites that we have seen throughout our journeys this whole time. There was a little convenience store, there was a coffee shop, they had laundry machines which were really cheap, and there was even a pool, which is nice if you have kids and easy to get out of the heat if you need to. As I mentioned earlier, the campground is also within a 5-minute drive of the town of Custer, so if you need to run into town to get groceries or go to a restaurant, that's really easily accessible. And the main attraction of Custer State Park is only the 10-minute drive away from the campground. All of this combined with the fact that there also wasn't really any bugs from our experience is the reason why we are rating this campground so high and why we strongly recommend you staying here if you're able to. Crazy Horse Campground was one of our personal favorites that we have stayed at in the past 10 weeks, and we would definitely go back and stay there again if we're going through the area. The next campground that we stayed at for over a week was called Oreville Campground, and this was only a 10-minute drive down the road closer to Keystone. This campsite was quite a bit smaller than the Crazy Horse Campground. There was just 2 large loops that had about maybe 40 spots available. All of these campsites, it is important to note, do not have any hookups, no electrical, no water, so you need to use your generator and the water you have in your RV. And it's also important to note that there is no fill or dump station available at the campground. But what they lack in amenities, they definitely make up for in the size of your campsite and the price per night. The campsites themselves were definitely the largest between each RV that we've been to yet, which was really nice because you don't have any of the hookups, but you have a little more personal space compared to most camps. It did look like most of these were back-in spots, but there were a couple pull-throughs that were available. I think you just have to request for them, or it depends on the location of the campsite. And like I've mentioned a couple times, the price was amazing. To stay for one night, basically at the door of Custer State Park and near Keystone, was about $20 a night, which is really, really affordable compared to pretty much every other campsite we have been to. And while they don't offer a ton of campground amenities that other more luxurious campgrounds do, the ones that they do offer are very clean and well kept. There are multiple public restrooms throughout the whole campground, and these are just pit toilets. However, they were the cleanest and best smelling pit toilets we have stayed at in any campground so far. Each campsite was also equipped with its own fire ring and picnic table. This combined with the large space makes this campground really great if you have multiple people or kids that need to run around and burn off some energy. The camp hosts at Oreville Campground were also super nice and really pleasant to talk to. I know we talked to them a couple different times, and every time they were super nice and gave us tips on what we could do in the area and just asking about our travels and telling stories for a little bit here and there, and it was really fun to talk with them. Oreville Campground also has a first come first served campsite, which we took advantage of for a couple of days. And this is really handy because if you are staying for a couple of days and decide you want to stay an extra day longer, you can ask the camp host, and if no one is staying there, you can just pull into that campsite after your reservations have ended and talk with the camp host, and you can stay up to 14 days at this campsite alone. I will say the one downside about this campsite that we found in our stay is that it is a little closer to the road without much of a buffer, so you do hear occasional traffic and large trucks driving by. by, but 90% of the time during our stay, this wasn't an issue at all. The main takeaways for Oreville Campground are that the price is really affordable and great, especially for the location that it is in, and the amenities that it offers with the campsite sizes and the pit toilets are some of the best that we have seen at any campgrounds across the country so far. This is in a similar location as the Custer Crazy Horse Campground. However, it is about 10 minutes down the road, so it's within 5-minute drive of Keystone and about a 10-15 minute drive of Custer, but both campgrounds are within a 10-minute drive of the front gate to Custer State Park. Now, if you aren't quite sold on Custer State Park and why you should stay here, we're just going to run through a quick 30-second list of why we think this is one of the top places that is a must-see. To start it off, there really is just an endless amount of things that you can do and see in Custer State Park. There's multiple lakes that you can swim in daily, has some of the best hiking trails that we've seen yet, and there seems to be really cool viewpoints on basically every turn on the road. There's also Mount Rushmore and the Crazy Horse Memorial, which are definitely must-see historical monuments, and it's just surrounded by really cool small towns and shops that would be really fun to walk through.